Continue to practice social distancing. On Live in the D, our talented friends are sharing their music from home.
And joining us is chart-topping gospel recording artist Spenser to talk about his new album. Welcome to Live in the D.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
We are great. How are you?
I'm doing well, safe and sanitized, but we're doing great.
I like that, safe and sanitized. Well, first of all, tell everyone how you're using your new project to inspire during these complicated times.
Wow, you know, the project Hooked is an album that we wrote, it just released in April, that really focuses on the love of God, and that if the love relationship with God and man had a soundtrack, it would be our album. And so what we have been trying to do is strategically place songs in social media, and doing virtual concerts and things, trying to really encourage people to know that at the end of the day, the love of God really matters. If we're going to get through whatever, whether it be the pandemic or the pandemonium, it's going to be the love of God that brings us all through.
You did a collaboration with members of Detroit gospel royalty, the Clark sisters. What was it like working with ladies of their caliber, legends?
Oh my goodness, it was amazing. Literally, we arranged the song, and when Twinkie came in and Karen came in, the Clark sisters, she was like, well, I'm not going to sing this song unless you sing it with me. And I was like, who? But it turned out to be such an amazing moment in my career, working with Twinkie Clark and Karen Clark, Dorinda, Donald Lawrence. It was just an amazing time. And so it really kind of shaped who I am in gospel music, and still encourages me today to do all that I can to spread the message of God's love.
Well, tell us about the song that we're about to hear and where people can learn more information about your music.
Absolutely. The song that you're about to hear is entitled Rooted. It's really talking about being rooted in the love of God, no matter what happens through the winds and the storms, to be rooted in God's love and to know that He loves me in spite of anything and everything that I've ever done. Is such a wonderful message. And I think it is very important, especially in the times that we live, that we do have an anchor, we do have a hope, we do have an expectation, and that is being rooted in God's love. And of course, they can get the album anywhere on Spotify, Tidal, wherever they get their music, stream it from, they can get it there, and let this music be a blessing to you. Rooted.
Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Take it away.
I appreciate the mystery, overwhelmed by all it's done for me, growing stronger just like a mighty tree. I am rooted in the ground of your love. I have strength out in my inner man, by your spirit that lives within. Over weakness, now I say I can, 'cause I'm rooted in the ground of your love. And all I see in you is where I wanna be, surrounded by your presence, Lord. I'm so glad that I am safe in your love. Oh, 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 oh. Try to blow me over, try to wear me down. Storms in my life tried to make me down. When it's all over, I am safe and sound. I'm rooted in the ground of your love. I am standing in your saving grace. Seed is growing from faith faith to faith. I'll keep my eye on you, for you have made the way. I'll be forever in the...
We live? Yeah. Strick City. Woo! Strick City. All over the world. City, man, we live. Yo, Strick City on the ride. Yo, look like surprise. Yo, taking your city like we live. Yo, man, we live. Yo, taking your city like surprise. Yo, on the ride. Yo, Strick City coming live. Yo. Whoop.
So your boy's been doing it today. You know what I'm saying? 2 shows, 1 night. I'm on the second show, and I'm oh so excited about this guest. But before I get to him, I got to tell you the rules, right? The rules are really simple. I need you to share tonight's show. All right, share this show, and then all you have to do is put your Cash App inside of the comments, and you could be a winner tonight. All right, do you need me to repeat that? Let me try this one more time. You actually hit share on the show, share it to all of your friends that's on your pages, whether that's on YouTube, Periscope, or Facebook, and then add your Cash App to the comments here. I'll see it, and you could be a winner. I'll send you something. I'll cash, like literally, it's from my Cash App to yours. You'll see Strick's at $ Strick City will be sending you something if you share it tonight. Because I need everybody, everybody to see the show, because the guest I have on tonight, he deserves your attention. Not only is he downright a bad preacher. The boy can preach the gospel. Woo! And I can't wait to get into some of that tonight. You saw him live from a television show in Detroit. He can sing too. He's a songwriter. He has a huge team. We're going to get through all of that, and we'll talk about a little bit about what's going on with the pandemic, his church, and his travels. How's he doing that right now? So without further ado, everybody, y'all put your hands together for none other than L. Spenser Smith. How you doing, sir?
What's up, Strick? How you doing, man?
Man,
Good
I'm
to
great.
see you.
I'm great, man. Good to see you too, brother. Listen, you've been doing some major things, man, and this pandemic has not stopped you at all.
No, you know what? It's been, quite frankly, probably one of the most busy summers I've had. And just because I'm trying to do a whole lot from home in one place,
right,
trying to manage a lot of fronts. But it's been pretty good. It's teaching me creativity, innovation, and how to multitask and how to do my time much better, because I was terrible with my time before.
Wow.
And now, man, I'm having to make sure that I'm always on schedule, so nobody's kind of just waiting on me on a Zoom or on a Skype or whatever interview. And but it's been really an interesting time of reset and rest and realignment, refocus for me. And I have no complaints. God is good, and He's good all the time.
So you're doing all this, and you have a project out?
Yes.
How's this working out for you, man? Who puts a project out in this time?
Well, look, we had it already scheduled. I started my own record label, Smithworks, with my son.
Okay.
And we partnered with Red Alliance and Fair Trade out of Nashville. And we had already set the date for April 17th before we even knew that COVID was going to hit. And I think around March, the latter part of March, you were like, well, what are we going to do? And the label was like, well, hey, go ahead and release the music. They need this music doing this kind of stuff shutting down. So, and then it was already in the system, Strick, and you know how that works.
I do.
The single was already out. It was already going on billboards and all that kind of stuff. So they was like, let's pull the gun and let's just try to, pull the trigger rather, and just kind of figure out how can we manage. And, so I've been trying to figure it out, and that day I came out with Kiara, The week before I came, the week before was the Clark sisters, and then the week after was Jonathan McReynolds. So we had to really
Right.
push to kind of get it out. But it was a learning experience. It was a great experience. We came in at #7 on Billboards,
Wow.
and which was a blessing. And we're still, the record is still doing very well.
So how do you, as a pastor and now a Billboard charting artist, how do you handle or balance the two of those?
Well, it begins with a good team on all fronts. My record label has a great team. My church has a really great team. And even when I was traveling, I had a good team as well. Well, now that I'm not traveling, because I haven't traveled since maybe January, February, something like
Gotcha.
that, was my last travel date. But they keep me on schedule. We have regular meetings, regular emails, regular text messages, just to make sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. And it's been really working out, but it's teamwork. It is teamwork. Shout out to my Smithwork staff. Shout out to my Impact Nation staff. They have really helped me do all that I need to do in this season.
That's what's up, man. Listen, you're only as good as your team, and
Right.
they have definitely been showing and proving. So definitely big shouts out to everybody
Absolutely.
behind you making that happen. And you're absolutely not new to this. You've been around for a long time. So have you always been singing and preaching?
I started out singing, but for professionally, I've always been singing and preaching. I didn't have a desire to pastor when I started pastoring. I knew I was going to be a preacher when I was 12, so I kind of knew that God had already been speaking to me. I was running
I
from
got it.
12, and then and then I heard him again at 16. Finally, at 18, I said yes. So I've been preaching since I was 18, which is, God bless, over 30 years now.
Wow.
I've been singing professionally, wow, almost 20 plus years. So it's kind of who I am. It's kind of what I do. I kind of know how to balance the two out really good. And it's just, I've got people again around me who understand the two different personalities that go along with one with pastoring, preaching, and the other one
Okay.
with artists. And then we know how to weave it together when we have to.
That I'm glad you said that. Now you said you've been doing it for a while. You actually come out of college singing, right? When you're part of a college choir as well.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, not the
Oh,
the
okay. Hey,
college choir.
listen, get me together, brother. Ha!
Florida A&M University Gospel Choir. I was directed there for 2.5 years, and before I went on, just kind of doing my own thing solo with my own group. But
Wow.
yeah, that was where it all started, and then of course, as many people know, that's where it morphed into connecting with Twinkie Clark, Donna Lawrence, and the Clark sisters for that amazing album. That's still amazing today. But that was the turn right there. That record at FAMU was the turn for me professionally. It was when everybody should think that they got it. Everybody,
Right.
if you do, but when Donald Lawrence and Twinkie Clark and Karen's like, you got it. That's a
Wow.
whole different kind of level of
Wow.
got it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right,
so
right.
I didn't turn back. I just knew. I always knew when I was younger that I wanted to sing gospel music. But that moment was a seminal moment in really launching me to where I wanted to go and really believing that I could be a professional artist that happens to sing gospel. And that's kind of been going on for years now.
Listen, in this, I'm gonna play the video of.
Oh my!
Yeah, I'm
What?
gonna go back to a moment of you singing
Oh
with
God!
Karen Clark Shears. I mean, just to be able to do that, and you look the exact same.
Oh, you kind. You're kind. You're lying, but you're
Hey, I
you're
want everybody to
lying,
check this
but you
out. This is really, really cool, man. I mean, it's got to be like once in a lifetime for you. But I want everybody to check this out. FAMU Choir, you actually directed this song and arranged it, right? And you
correct.
sang in it.
Correct.
Oh my God! Check this
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Been good to me. He's been so
Dude.
My goodness, I survived.
Listen, I don't know if I can't sing like that, but I would have definitely tried to be on stage with her. I mean, my goodness. Now, you were the choir director at that time, and I know on your first label, you actually came out with, there was his name, Troy.
Right, Troy Sneed.
Troy
right.
Sneed. Now,
Right.
that was your first label that you came out with, and y'all met while
Right,
you're in
right.
college as well, right?
Absolutely. Troy is really, he has been a very pivotal moment in my life in terms of me connecting with the Family Gospel Choir, becoming director when he was about to go to internship. Troy majored in elementary education. And he's like, yo, you're going to be the next director. And again, that happened. And I stayed there 2.5 years. By the time this video came out, we had another director, my brother, Daniel James. I sang a song with him on the record as well. Because I was married by the time. That's why I said I was married by the time that came out. I had just graduated,
Wow.
got married, and then we came back and recorded it. But Troy was instrumental in my college career. And then when we professionally, Troy had moved to Jacksonville. I had lived in Jacksonville after I graduated, my wife and I. and we moved to Tuscaloosa. The pastor, when her father passed away, and Troy and I hooked up. He was like, "Yo, I'm gonna come down and hear this choir. I've been hearing everybody talk about your choir, Testament." And he came down to church. I remember that Sunday. He came down to church. Um, and the choir blazed. They just was, oh my goodness. But they had on the ugliest uniforms I remember. It was like a baby blue and navy blue. I was like, who in the world told y'all to wear this? He is not going to sign us. Y'all looking like a quartet group.
Wow.
A 60, right. But he loved it, and he signed us. And the first record that we did with him was assignment number 1, where we did God Will and Out the Box and Covenant God, all those great songs. And then, of course, the second record that we did with him was Statement, and that's where we get the song, the cult classic Surgery.
Right.
So really, there is no L. Spencer Smith in Testament. There is no Surgery. There is no Phenom that comes out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, without Troy Sneed. He pushed us. And again, shout out to Emily and the family. When they called me and told me Troy passed away, it just a part of my world stopped. You know, as with anybody that passes, but really such a vibrant, big personality, a loving person in gospel music, and just a loving person, period. And he was very, very pivotal in this place in my life. The first person that told me I should go solo, that I needed to go solo, was Troy. He told me that. And a couple of weeks before he passed, he had hit me up on Facebook and just congratulated me for my new single hitting billboards. At the time, I think it was like in the low 40s or something. He hit me up and said, "Man, I knew you could do it. I'm proud of you."
Wow.
And 2 weeks later, he was gone. So, but he was always an encourager. And, I cherish everything that, God afforded us to have while he was still alive. And he's still such a great, brilliant person in the industry and in life.
That's awesome, man. And for you to be able to share that story, definitely my condolences to you and to his family. I mean, we hate losing people to a pandemic and to COVID-19. And, by us both being in the state of Alabama, I'm just from the plains, down on the plains where we do orange and blue. You know what I'm saying? I know you know what I'm talking about. And it's just different down there. It's different down there.
I understand. I mean, I bleed orange and green, FAMU, but I represent the crimson and white. I mean, the crimson tide. You got to come on,
I got you.
But you know what? It's really funny just to see the rivalry of Alabama and Auburn. Is just it's amazing.
It comes up in all conversations. We're talking about music and the gospel, and I don't bring up the plains. I know you're down in Tuscaloosa. I'm from Auburn. All this kind of stuff. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is. But hey, it's still the crimson tide. We just, it is what it is.
Let me say this to you. As a pastor in this pandemic, how do you actually minister to people during this time? Because this is a time that we and our generation, we haven't seen before. How do you as a pastor lead through something like this?
One of the very first things that when I met with my leadership team, I came up with a 3-pronged idea. And it was, we're going to be prayerful, we're going to be careful, but we're not going to be fearful. Gotcha. And, just really begin to focus people on instead of the opposition or the obstacle, the opportunity that we have to rest, to realign, to reset. And also it forced us into to see if our outreach really worked, to see how strong our church family really works. Because when people come to church on Wednesdays and Sundays, we take for granted that they're really connected and that our systems work. Because we always see them or whatever. But in a situation like this, it really strains the fabric and makes you rethink some things. Right. But we've been encouraging people, really to be safe, really to enjoy family, enjoy this time, enjoy, before we came in this, a lot of us were just tired and, oh man, I wish I could get a vacation. Well, we probably had about a 2.5-month vacation, almost 3-month vacation now. But it's just to let them know every week. It's important for me when we communicate virtually. Is to let them know that you're still part of a family. We're still praying for you. We're still praying together. We're still worshiping together. We're still connected. If you still have a need, we're still here for you. Um, and that's what we can do. That's what we do to make sure. And really strict. Our church has grown virtually. We've gotten e-members now,
Wow.
even through this. People that we would not have probably reached had we been in the four walls. So, my kids say that I'm an eternal optimist, and that might be true. I just see God's hand giving us an opportunity that will set the course for a new normal. And and every week I invite our church into that new normal, that journey with me. That we're in this all
Right.
together, and I think
Right.
that's really important.
Well,
Yeah.
it's the hand that we've been dealt. And I
Yeah.
believe that God is in all and he works through all. So he hasn't
Yeah.
moved. He
Yeah.
knew that we would be here. How do we make the gospel go forth? And I believe everybody sitting down and watching in their homes, getting a chance to experience some things differently. But I also believe that as we are away from our church buildings, away from our church families, that there's going to be a heart to go back, a desire to go back into the church. So there's going to be such a energy, such an infusement of energy into the church whenever that happens. But until then, I just think it is important for all of us to use technology. I mean, we're using technology right now. Like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
the
Absolutely.
technology was available before the pandemic, but I never thought that I actually was going to go into a real studio and have guests come to me. But just
Right.
like you, I have a makeshift studio in my home, and I can be
Yeah.
and talk to anybody with just a simple link. So it is so cool, and it has cut down
Yeah.
so much of the expense of doing it. So, no, I mean, I don't have to have an expense of going into the studio. Like I built the
Absolutely.
studio here. So, it's just one of those things that I'm really, really enjoying the opportunity. And then I get a chance to have guests like yourself come hang out with me to talk about what they're doing. And it
Yeah.
is so great. So, during this time, I will say this. We've seen people struggle, just like we talked about your friend Troy, and people have died because of COVID-19. And I don't think that that's over. More people will
Right.
pass because of this. And we're praying for the peace of God for them and their family. We
Yeah.
know it will happen. Some people have struggled and are affected by COVID-19. They've recovered, but their body is still recovering. But there's
Right. Right.
another group of people that are actually thriving in this time. Like it
Yeah.
boggles my mind that there are people that are moving forth in this time like never before, financially and in their family. God is covering them and building them up. And there's going to be a time where they actually move further. How have you
Yeah.
seen that dynamic in your life work, where people are suffering, but at the same time, people are moving forward?
My home is a I guess a course and an example of being blessed in the time of pandemic and protest and pandemonium. And what that is that we've had to tap into other streams and other ideas of ingenuity and
Gotcha.
creativity.
Gotcha.
If nothing else, I think one of the things I told one of my friends was that the furlough brought them freedom. Now,
Wow.
all of the things that they were just simply talking about, they can actually put legs and hands to.
Come on. Come
And
on.
I think this is the opportunity that God has given us to put feet to our dreams, right? To actually take the walk of faith and do new things, and whether that is selling jewelry, whether that is starting a home healthcare business, or
Right.
just something different, going taking pictures or whatever that creative stream is, that people are finding ways to navigate through these times, because needs have changed. There's still a need for something.
Right.
It's just that you got to tap into what they need and your particular skill set and provide it. There's still a supply and demand
There he is.
situation that's going on in the pandemic. And so we could choose to complain. We could choose to be upset. We could choose that. But for me, I've been writing. I've been
It's
doing
great.
a lot. I've been writing books. I've been writing songs. Working on new things, new ventures. I've watched my wife take her Mary Kay area to another level during the
Wow.
pandemic, sitting right at home,
Wow.
and watched her whole area do the same thing. So we've got people who are doing great things. Um, Slap a mask on and keep living. I mean, we got to find a way to tap into the creativity. You know, in the Garden of Eden, there was one river and four streams. So we've got at least five ways to make wealth and create prosperity for our lives, even in the midst of famine. And that's the hand five, fivefold ministry, all that. Five is
Right.
the number of grace. And so I believe God will give us favor in the time of famine if we stop complaining, exercise our faith, and move into those areas. Those of us who can, we should, because we don't know. God might be giving us that wealth to take care of those who cannot.
Wow, I like that. And I said earlier, I know you're a preacher and I want you to preach, man. And you have shared and dropped some nuggets on us tonight for people to move forward. I mean, you're an example of someone that's taken this time where, there could have been some obstacles to coming out. And you mentioned all these people that had albums dropping the same time you dropped, but you said, hey, let me move, have a little faith to make this happen. I've been talking for years that, hey, I have to start something, and this show is an example of me saying, let me use this time wisely and actually
Absolutely.
support people and their endeavors during this time. That being said, I want to be sure that we make a point about why we're here tonight, because you are promoting a new project. I want to go down the project. I don't
Yes.
want to miss that because I haven't talked to you in a long, long time. So
Long
we
time,
can we
right?
can talk about just try to catch up. But I want to be sure from a marketing standpoint that people understand you have a new project out that they absolutely need to get. So tell me about
Yeah.
the project and how people can get a hold of it.
Absolutely. So, Hooked is my new project entitled Hooked. It's my second solo record on my own label, Smithworks Music Group. And again, I partner with Red Alliance Media, Stephanie Andre, and Fair Trade out of Nashville. And it is the record that symbolizes L, right? It's not
Okay,
that record. This record is not Bishop or Pastor.
I
This
got you.
record features me as L. Spenser, the artist. And one of the great things that I love about this record is that it was co-produced by my son, who is my vice president of our record label. And um, I this record would have not come to pass unless he helped me organize my thoughts around what I believe my central purpose is in life, and that is to reveal the love of God to people. And what I've learned since I started, even in my songwriting, my early songwriting, I've always been fascinated with communicating to people the overwhelming unconditional love of God.
I like that.
And that's my assignment as a pastor. And what I learned is because I grew up in church. I grew up in Pentecostal church all my life. I just been a church boy. I've not been clubbed. I've been none of that. I've always been a church boy. And I just saw how, not to cast aspersions on the church, but how they mishandled the message of God's love.
Gotcha.
And how we were more hell and retribution oriented than we were love and restoration oriented. And my thought is that the highest principle and the highest nature of God is restorative. God
Wow.
doesn't say that I am hate, he says I am love. He identifies himself with the decision to do the best and best is just the word that I can come up with in my own human cognition,
Right.
but to do all that he can to show us how valuable we are to him. And so what this record starts off with is a compilation of 12 songs that really spell out from the beginning to the end. It's a soundtrack of love songs, really,
Wow.
that express this whole relationship that God is hooked on me.
Wow.
He loves me, and then I become like Paul. I've got to apprehend that for which I've been apprehended, and at the end of the day, I'll let nothing separate me from what the love of
Love
God,
God.
which is in Christ Jesus. So it's God chasing me, I'm chasing him, and both of us getting hooked on each other, and that's the entire record.
Wow. Hey, dude, I love that. I love that. I love that at the end of the day, you can articulate what your purpose is to show God's love. Now, as another man of faith, I also understand that if you've gotten to this particular purpose in your life, that doesn't come easy, that there's a lot of experience that comes. There's a lot of pain that comes with it. There's a lot of things, a lot of tests and trials that come when you actually say, hey, God, I learned it. You know, the love
Right.
is the purpose that I have. And out of all of that, how you say, okay, this is how I'm loving now. I'm loving people now. How do you use your experience to show that love to people?
Well, one of the things, and again, I'm an open book. I'm transparent because I like that in ministry. I love that with music and preaching, whatever that is. The seminal moment for me with regards to understanding my purpose is that in college, I was preaching. I was a director at 18, 19 years old, 20. I'm a dynamo. I'm leaving school, going to tour with the choir, going to preaching around the country, going back to school. I'm just a big guy on campus at FAMU. And then, drum roll, I have my girlfriend, my wife, then girlfriend, had children out of wedlock.
Wow.
And right at the pinnacle of my ministry. And I was so embarrassed and shamed. And, I'm like, oh my God. So I remember, I went home to tell my pastor, the one that licensed me, who I was under. And I got back home and he said to me, okay, I know what happened. I know what's going on. He said, but how long you home? I said, well, I'll be home. I'm going to stay home till about Monday. He said, cool. You're preaching today. I said, wait, hold on. I'm doing what? He said, you're preaching today. Get ready to go preach. No conversation. I didn't even have a message prepared. He said, you're preaching today. So I got up there and, Strick, it was probably one of the most delivering messages that I ever preached in my life.
Wow.
And then after it was over, the altar was filled and I was praying for people. We got back to his office. He says, here's what he told me. He said, I just wanted you to do that, not because you didn't mess up. I wanted you to know that your mistakes and your failures did not take the hand of God off of your life.
Wow.
You are still called and you're still anointed. And I needed you to understand that. I know what you did wrong, but I still know what God has already done in your life and what he's already called you. It was that moment, that love of God, right then and there, I knew that I couldn't be judgmental.
Wow.
And I couldn't be that dude. And even when I started off young in my pastorate, I was trying to be that dude that was disconnected from that testimony.
Right.
And what is amazing about Hook is when the Hook came out, one of my friends who called me, he said, you know what? Here's the full circle moment, Strick, that the baby boy that I had, which was twins, the baby boy that I had was the one that helped me push forth this record. So Hooked is a full circle moment that came out of the brainchild and the instruction direction of the baby that came out of that fallen moment. Wow. So that wasn't a mess. That was really my miracle that birthed my ministry now. And so I tell people now, there is nothing you can do that can make God stop loving you. You can't out-sin God's love. You cannot. You just can't do it. Where sin did abound, grace does much more abound. And that's my testimony. That's what I share to people. And that's why you got to get this record.
Wow.
He wrote this song called Saints Remorse, which is a big song on it because it expresses the entire record and the relationship that we have, trying to do all we can to love God the way that he loves us.
Wow. Listen, a lot of
gave you a long
times.
version.
No. This is great. In a couple past shows, I've had some guests get emotional telling their testimony. I'm listening to your testimony and I'm getting emotional. Like, this is hitting me. I know that people out there are feeling what you're saying because a lot of people that I know, they didn't have good leadership in the times when they fell, and it made the fall harder. Some people fell out of the church because of bad leadership. So for somebody to actually catch you in a time like that and love you like a real leader should, because that multiplied the love in you to other people. And I appreciate you sharing that, because so many folks are not transparent enough to share their failures. That's the thing that connects us with everybody. Because, You know, we're all men that make mistakes. That thank God that in our weakness, He is strong. Like we can then pull
Absolutely.
His strength to say, "Hey, it's not me." God used our whole Bible. He used a whole bunch of people, and I think He did it on purpose so we wouldn't glorify Moses. We wouldn't glorify Abraham because these
Yeah.
guys were regular men that made mistakes. They just had God anointing on them like we do to
Right.
do what God has purposed us to do, which you have already articulated, which is to love. Man, this
Yeah,
is awesome.
absolutely.
This is awesome. Just the fact that it was full circle and your son
Yeah.
helped you with this album. I gotta say this. I want to play the song "Saints Remorse," and before I do this, I gotta shout out Patricia Smith. She's been commentating the whole night on Facebook in the comments. So I don't know if you know her or she's watching tonight. Patricia
Oh, that's my
Smith.
wife.
That's your wife. She's
That's my
been
pretty
commentating
Patrice.
the
No,
whole
that's my
night.
wife.
Listen.
What you doing?
Listen, she's been commentating. I've been throwing it up. When you see the video, you're gonna see all of it. So, First Lady, I'm
That's
sorry
her. Yeah.
I didn't catch the name, First Lady. But thank you for hanging out with us and adding the commentation that I could just throw up on the screen so people can say what they can actually see what we're saying. And he gave you a huge
Right,
shout
right.
out. So the next time you get like one of them Mary Kay checks, I'm not the church, but I'll take a tithe. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's play this song right here. Can you introduce it for me real quick?
Absolutely. Listen, the highest thing that we can do for God is to daily want to be better, to respond to His love, to respond to His grace. And so this song, written by my son Jamel Smith, one of the amazing writers, singers, and producers, Saints Remorse, I want to be better.
Sorry, I'm on bended knee. I know I was just here last week, but could you please forgive me again? I know you still love me, and your grace is renewing. But I don't wanna be back next week with the same words I don't even mean to you. What happens when your head is overcharged? That your heart is left in question. How have I stood the test of time? I'll never know, but this is a relational contractual agreement. Finally acknowledge what I've taken for granted. Your grace and mercy, full guarantee, but in the morning, I wanna be better. Yeah. I wanna be better. Yeah. I wanna be better. Better.
Man.
Yeah, man.
L. Spenser Smith.
Yes,
I just,
yes.
just had to let that, when you get songs like that and you get a chance to play them, you have to let them marinate. You ain't got to go far. You just let that sit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I've always told people that my style of gospel music that I really, really like is more inspirational.
yeah,
I don't know, it just does something to me when you tell me I could do better.
yeah,
The
yeah,
God is there, and He's there to hold. You could do better, and not
yeah.
in you made a mistake. You could do better, but better is coming. Like better is what you could have, and
Exactly.
man, so big shouts out to you and your son and what you guys are doing together, and then just sharing the testimony of how important like this latest project is for you and your family to make it full circle and God get the
Yeah,
glory of it, you know?
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
It's powerful, and it's just this record again. What we designed to do and desired to do, and it was amazing that you just said inspiration and music. I can do the churchy stuff. I mean, I was raised on that,
Hey,
but the
let me just
way
stop you.
that
Let me stop you. You're a preacher, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna get it twisted. You will preach, and I really want to know how you doing it with the video camera on, cause I mean, you could go, brother. You could go.
Oh, well, I mean, it's just in my bones. It's just, it's a part, and I tell ministers all the time because I get that, young preachers, and I tell them it's a part of the appreciation for all of the grace and mercy that, I can preach and give the information from the academic and the theological perspective. But when I really get into how that moment where it kind of crosses over me, there's a great level of appreciation that I get to do this, that
Wow.
he preserved me to do this.
Wow.
And so a lot of that, a lot of times people say, well, that's celebration. That's what we call it in our community. But for me, it's a celebration based upon appreciation for my life, for
Wow.
what he has called me to do. And I'm grateful that you get that you understand that. But I am just in this moment and season of my life in love with what I believe God is unfolding in my life, and for everyone. I am the eternal optimist. I believe that when the scripture says he'll do exceeding abundantly above all that you could ask a thing according to a power that works in you, I believe that he's going to do it. I believe that God's
Why not
greatest
believe that? But why not? Like if it's in
why
the
not?
word,
Right.
if it's there, like it's there, you can read it. Like we preach this, we taught this. Why not believe that God can do some amazing, miraculous things in your life? And
But
I
you know
say
what?
that
You
not
know
to
what,
you,
man?
but to the people that just not me. God can't bless me like that.
Right, right. And then you know what I figure out, that the depression is not in the denial, it's in the delay. Like a lot of people get depressed and discouraged, not because they've been denied, it's just that it's been delayed. And we have a problem with time. We have a problem with patience. We have a problem with gratitude where
Right.
we are. And you know what I'm saying? That we want the big blessing now when we don't pay attention to the incremental things that God does for us every day. And so, I've lived too long and I've seen him do too much, big things, small things, in between things. And, when God does a thing, he does a thing. It's that attitude of gratitude and appreciation and, we got a promise. And that's enough to wake up for.
That's
That's
right.
enough to praise for.
That's right.
And, when you got a promise, there are people who have abandoned their promise and therefore abandoned their expectations. So they feel like they have no reason to live. Every morning I get up, I'm grateful. I get a chance to talk to great people like you. I get a chance to write great music. I get a chance to see my wife and my family. I get a chance to do so many things. So I'm grateful because that's not everybody's story.
He's
You know what
not.
I'm saying? That's not everybody's story, that they get up and wake up to be able to be a blessing to other people and to receive blessings from other people. And
Right.
so, I mean, it's just an attitude of gratefulness, I think, that we've got to maintain, especially in times like this. Yeah.
So that being said, man, I really don't want to take your time up all night because we can go back and forth, dude. I have really appreciated an opportunity to spend some time with you, an anointed man of God who's got an amazing project out. How can they get to your music?
Yes, it is on Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, Apple Play, Apple Music, all that kind of stuff. Anywhere any DSP, any digital service provider, you can get it down and stream it and buy it, download it. Don't just rent it; you can go and buy it.
That's
you know,
up.
and do that. They can hit my website up, lspenser.com. And I have a physical copy with liner notes, and I'll autograph it for them if they want to do that. They can go to my website. That's lspenser.com. Just great content on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. You can see me anywhere. And then, of course, we're working on a virtual concert, presenting that, doing some of the music there. We're working on a virtual tribute to Troy Sneed. Trying to get Testament back together. We are all sports out over the country, so we're working on that so that we can get that together. So there's a whole lot of stuff that you can do, but please get hooked. Get hooked today. Let it be a blessing to you. We're on YouVersion. We have a whole devotional that goes with that, the record on YouVersion. It's called Hooked, and that's been great. We had, when it came out about a month ago, we had like over 100 people that had the devotional every morning with us. I invited them to come and read the devotional with me, and so we put word into the soundtrack and everything. So get the music, and it would definitely be a blessing to you.
That's what I'm talking about. Again, it's been a blessing having you on the show tonight. Thank you for taking the time, and I'm sending people your way, brother. Sending people your way. I'm going to be sure that I get hooked too. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You'll be hooked. Yes,
I'll be hooked. I'll be hooked. Hey, hold what you got real quick for me. L. Spenser Smith, y'all definitely get hooked. I thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a phenomenal show, phenomenal evening for me. Started out with Willie Williams and ended with L. Spenser Smith. We needed to talk. I love the energy and the man of God that he is. So go pick up his project. Let it minister to you as well. And, of course, y'all know me, right? Thursday night, it goes down 8 o'clock. We're doing Strick City Live. Why not be live with me, right? Hey, I'll see y'all Thursday.
We live? Yeah. Strick City. Woo! Strick City. All over the world. City. Man, we live. Yo.